just one of the specifications. Okay, and it's got a little history sheet. I will hand this to you, but you can look at that later. Certification of proofs. The intent here is to make sure that what you see here will reproduce in its medium, like we talked about the other day. So the way that we do that is we do it with a bunch of test patterns. Okay, you'll notice that's a package job over there. It has basically 2 sets of test patterns on it. This is one for each color that's being used. So you'll see black, you'll see a Pantone that says 286, and then the different other colors that are used here. And then there's this, which is consistent. Everything that we output has these color bars on it. Okay? If it's an ad, it has something that looks very similar to the exact same color bars, but they are slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Hues are slightly different. The size doesn't really matter, but the actual colorization or saturation of the color. Even if it's a clear for a package, it has those color bars on it. Those color bars are what we read with the computer over there that actually tell us it's within the specification.
Okay.
The specification is different if it's an ad versus a package versus a collateral piece or a catalog. So the bars on them will say, this one is specific for a client. This is it doesn't really say it on there. It says it on the back on the sticker. This is specific to our Homedics client. So based on who their printers are, we've actually generated a test strip that matches off to their printing process. This is for a magazine. It happens to be for Kruger Color as well. So it matches off to the specification for the magazine. So when we run the proof, if these numbers read correctly, it'll certify, gives us a check mark, tells us a bunch of specifications that tells you where within the certification it falls. Anything that is a certification is an acceptable range. So like this is a typical pattern. A printer may run this on their press. They'll send us the data, we'll proof it here. And we'll compare the two, the press sheet as well as the proof. To see how they look visually, we also have the ability to read each one of these colored squares, and it has a range that it should fall within. So in doing that, if it falls within the range, then the proof is certified, which means that you can give this to a printer, and they will be able to print it as you see it laying here.
Okay.
Okay. Part of what this is also used for, all these squares up here are used to generate what we call a profile. So if the printer prints this on their press and sends it to us as a press sheet, we'll read them in. That establishes the specification for that printer. Within a printer, they may have different presses. Each press might be slightly different in how it reproduces.
Mm-hmm.
Again, our goal is to build a file and provide a proof that represents as accurately as possible what that end result will be. Because like we talked last week, we're the insurance that says you're going to spend all this money on printing this stuff. It'll come out looking the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you how that works. So you'll notice in here we have the color bar. This one is set up as the Homedics output. If we click on this, we have the different color spaces that we talked about the other day. So we picked the Homedics one because that's what this is.
Okay. So Homedics has their own like printing. This is like their company or something that they use.
They're printed in China.
Okay.
So what we've done is we've worked with the printers that they use to develop a method of checking the proof so that when they print it in China, it will look the right way. So we certify it versus their standard.
Okay.
Rather than say an industry standard, which SWAP, which goes to magazines, is an industry standard. So again, depending on what the end intent is, we'll build the files, we'll produce the proofs within that color space. Okay? It came out of the 7900 proofer, which on here it tells us that this was run off the 7900. So that's important too. As you walked through here last week, you saw multiple output devices. I need to know which device it came out of, because we've set up the profile for each device.
Because each one's slightly different.
Correct.
Okay.
They're mechanical devices. You know, you're performing to a standard. So what will happen here is we will get that start button. It tells us to place the measuring. This is a template so that you can only do this a certain way. With any standard process, you need to follow the procedures, otherwise you're not getting the results that you want. Place the measuring device on a white surface. You'll see that this is a measuring head. There is a white surface here.
Okay.
So it's consistent. So every time we do this, it takes the exact same baseline reading.
Is that like a custom device or?
It is a custom device. It's made by the X-Rite Corporation.
Okay.
If you look them up, you'll see they're one of the manufacturers. There are only a couple that manufacture this equipment. Should be telling me. So please enter the measurement details and move the eye to the color strip. Push the little button on the side and slide it. Then you move to measure strip 2, which is the second one on the wing.
So that one's significantly different, actually.
Now it's going to tell me that I did it wrong.
Okay.
So it's going to say to repeat the measurement more slowly. Now that tells me it's out of tolerance. That means that either I did something wrong, or it's reading that the proof is not certified.
So it looks like it would be in that area, really. Or is that? Oops, sorry. Is that?
Possible. Yeah. Down here again, it's telling me to go back to strip 1. That might be a slight bit out. There it tells me it's okay,
Okay.
which means the operator did their job right. And it produces a sticker which we can then put on the proof that says that goes with the proof as well. Now what happens is when it gets to the printer can actually use their own device for this and double check the proof as well.
Okay. So they proof the proof
Correct.
to go up with their printer.
If there's any question in the process, they've got this to work with. On their printing press, they will also have color bars, which allows them to run to different densities.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to running this, they're laying ink down in this regard. Go back to that test pattern. If you were to run this on a printing press and your press is running this direction,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to make that redder, so to speak, you can increase that ink level, but it may also affect this blue
Mm-hmm.
because it's got some red. It may affect his skin tone. All of a sudden, he may look like he's wearing lipstick. So The printing science is a little bit different, which is why it's important that they start with a certified file and a certified proof, so that then they can work with their technology. Colors in line with neutrals. If you start with something that's been skewed towards one end instead of to the standard, you won't have a chance of making that look neutral versus a colored piece. So what this being a test pattern, what this is really intended for is to take all these colors, all these neutrals, in line and crosswise with each other, and give you a proof that looks good, irregardless of the era that the people are shot from. So this shows a couple things. One is there's all sorts of colors that you can read on here and test. The relationship of here to neutrals, the relationship of transitions from one color to another. Are they smooth? Are they choppy? If we showed you a bad proof, typically her blush shows up really strong. This will show rainbows in it of color instead of being a uniform transition. And this gets, it's almost too white and too dark in certain areas when it comes out not to a standard.
Okay. So you could have a proof that comes out certified, but it doesn't look right still.
What that's going to tell you is you need to, your proof could be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if that data that's on there, that image that's on there doesn't look the way that you want it to look,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to go back in and work with that data. Because you can have a proof that's certified that looks terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So what it really comes down to is when this file looks the way you want it to look and the proof certifies, now you're good.
Okay.
Gives the printer the best chance of reproducing it within budget, within expectation.
Did you guys put that into an ad, or is that coming up?
This ad ran last month.
Okay. So
Created, as far as we can tell, 250% increase in traffic to the website. It was the first ad we've ever run for what you're working on.
Good to know.
Do you have another?
Yeah, can we get?
You can take that with
Okay,
you.
thank you.
So that's got the color bar on it with the certification. If you turn that over, it also has a sticker on the back that says it's certified.
Do you have up and coming ads for this?
Not at the moment.
Huh. That's our job.
That's part of why we're working with you.
And that was run in a very specific,
Industry specific
right, a very industry specific.
award ceremony. So that was a back page of a program.
So that may be written more specifically than
Correct.
maybe something you might come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't happen to have a printed copy of it, but I can actually give you one of our previous ones.
This
So you
is
can see how it was used.
this is even cooler. So.
There you go.
Would you be able to explain that?
Ooh, probably yes.
Okay, would you?
I can probably get you guys I'll have the guys run out a fresh one of these. This is done for a specific standard and client.
Mm-hmm.
So I can at least, so if you have a test pattern.
Do you have one that would look different other than the Grackle or Grackle?
There'll be a Grackle, a swap, a snap. So
Mm-hmm. So this is for newspaper.
this is actually for collateral.
Okay. Mm.
Newspaper is snap.
Snap. Okay. What's collateral?
Collateral is like a brochure,
Okay.
a letter, direct mail, stuff that comes to your house that way.
Mm-hmm.
There is a different Graco standard for catalogs, which would be like your car catalogs, your motorcycle catalogs, things of that nature.
Just more.
Usually the printers are allowed to put more ink down on those.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a different density standard that it goes to. If I can probably get into density standards and start to bore you a little bit. It's math, it's not hard. But essentially a catalog will print about 15% darker, stronger color than a direct mail.
Mm-hmm. They always look more vibrant and stuff.
Correct. There's a reason for that. They're printed differently. They're running what is called perfect color, which means I may have this image here and I'll have it again here. So they're only controlling that image when they run.
Mm-hmm.
Or on a collateral piece, all of these might be on the same page. So it changes the leeway that the printer
Mhm. So all of these images would be used in one type of brochure, basically.
Correct.
Got it.
Darcy asked a question earlier because she thought you guys might ask it. When did all this stuff start? It basically started late 60s, early 70s. Doesn't really matter which standard you're going by. They all started at about the same time. There's kind of a history of it right here. This is the magazine one. It's a little out of date brochure, but it pretty much the history stuff would be about the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of explains, rather than merely guessing, coming up with a process that gives you an exactness. So you guys can have that as well.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like at this point?
Let's see if we have any questions from the people.
Yeah, just a copy.
Okay. I should have one of those. We can probably pull out a file and print out as long as the right person's here. See it drop out of the proof and where you go.
So one person asked, what typically motivates your clients to use PYC? We found a few people that I talked to found because they know you guys and know that the quality that you guys produce. They trust it.
So basically, trust,
mhm.
and the second component of that is just why do they actually do it? The price is right for what they're asking.
It's cheap enough, but it does a quality job. I wanted to ask about Chrysler. You're affiliated with Chrysler, it seems like, after talking to...
We've worked with Chrysler for, I think, over 18 years now.
So you guys have like a contract that says some print work has to go through you guys? Like,
What we've got and we've had a number of different relationships, either through their agencies, through them directly, or through their vendors. So depending on which day and which contract it is, we relate to them in a number of different ways. What Chrysler gets in their relationship with a company like ours is they control the buy. So they're not working through middle people. They're getting the biggest benefit for their spend, and they're getting consistency and accuracy in the execution of their work. So their brand in the marketplace is protected.
Gotcha. Yeah, I talked with somebody who had used Brophy, but now they have basically a deal with Chevy, so it's a similar type thing. I get that. Let's see.
It's been a few years since we worked with Chevy directly.
So now that we get you our packet of what we're supposed to do, do you ask for one? Like our syllabus? Or...
We've got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Natalie sent the timeline, so we can help you stay on track.
Okay. Yeah, we're presenting tomorrow at
And
6
anticipate.
with the paper.
Yeah. I think we got that on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to help you anticipate some of the stuff that you need and the logistics that go into that.
So we said your most salient attribute was basically the ability to have it certified. Do you guys see any other differences versus a normal color proofing thing?
Certification is the difference setter in that.
100%. You would say that's the number one.
Part of that might be that reputation.
Okay.
That some people
That's
touched on.
That's exactly what we thought so too.
Okay. Those are the two differentiators versus anybody that can just output a picture, so to speak.
Okay. Somebody asked, how valuable would this process be if it wasn't certified? Could you do it without it being certified?
The value in that is actually down the line. If it's not certified and you get onto a printing press with a project such as this, if it's not a one-off, if it's actually for reproduction, you increase the problems that you can have on press, which exponentially increases the cost in that. So there's a direct correlation to the old commercials where the mechanic would say, pay me now or pay me later. This falls into that category of a small investment now saves you a lot of headaches and potential costs later. So it's kind of that relationship with the entire process.
So other than certification and details in color and your reputation, is there any other differences from you and another company?
As we build it out, we have the ability to mount to stuff, to adhere it to different substrates, to finish it, If it's not meant to go to a printer,
Mm-hmm.
then we do have some other capabilities that we can bring into play, different substrates that you can output on.
Okay. And that's Brophy specific,
For
pretty
instance,
much.
the car that's hanging on the other side of this wall when you first walk in
Uh-huh.
is printed out in the same process.
Okay.
So that's actually printed on a canvas product, makes it look like a piece of art. Essentially, it's a one-off.
Okay.
The canvas that's hanging there, the orange show, that's actually a vinyl canvas. It kind of gives it that dated, point-of-sale poster.
And then the artwork that was printed on, I think it was metal sometime. So you guys can do all of that.
Correct.
Specific. Okay, so nobody pretty much.
Being able to do it on clear,
Mm-hmm.
is a differentiator from a lot of the common outputters in the marketplace.
Okay.
Our core business tends to be focused on the graphic arts business, which relates to printing in some fashion, which is where the certification comes in.
Okay. Other things like you gave us a list of 5. Are there other customers that, like, how many would you say
How many other customers?
that use Prove Your Color?
Prove Your Color is because we haven't done the full launch into the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Market knowledge of it is more. They've either come across it in a web search,
Yep.
or they're a specific client that used us without Prove Your Color in the past, so we've directed to it
Mm-hmm.
because we know that they're concerned about price as well as the service.
Mm-hmm.
So that exposure at this point is a little bit limited. That's why we're looking at, okay, we blow the doors off it and let it run. Where do we run? What's the best way to get that word out to the street, which directs to the marketing effort.
That's why we're here. Again.
Right.
Let's see.
So really, the answer to your question is no. I mean, there's not a bigger customer base existing right now.
Yeah, but they sounded like they're using it quite a bit actually.
Yeah,
Like
the ones that are
Mhm.
using it a lot. They're very consistently, and they're very happy.
For the client that the service matches up with,
Right.
their need is pretty much constant.
Right.
So if you refer back to kind of the PowerPoint that I sent you guys, the goals and objectives of the service were to get us out of the personal hand touch type service, because that's expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and more into the automated type service where when a file is uploaded to Prove Your Color, it drops out of a proofer out here without ever having been touched by our employees. We're not generating a job ticket. It's basically all done online. The only employee touch comes when we certify it and put it into the package.
That could eventually be automated, really, instead of even having to do.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, you still got to run it through the certification process. So
But trim it out and get ready to ship.
you can control your costs by who you have do that,
Right. Doesn't have
and
to
it
be
can
that
certainly become an efficient,
high overhead.
process rolling that out. Again, where we came to you guys was saying, we've done the beta test, we've done some in-market processing, we know it works.
Yeah.
So okay, now let's make it look pretty,
Mm-hmm.
attractive. Let's market it to the right people and see where it leads.
It seems like it's a pretty specific industry that'll use it, but it's a pretty big industry. It seems like a lot of agencies would.
If you wanted to go to the general commercial industry and say I can output, a 44-inch proof for you,
Mm-hmm.
where our value added comes in is I can take, say, that orange shell and I can change all the colors in it. I can go to my retouchers and change the person or the background. So we can actually take a marginal piece of art and make it better or
Mhm.
update it.
And yeah, I've seen some of the stuff like on that wall. That's like
Right.
you'll take how this is what you guys do specifically.
Right.
I understand that definitely,
Yeah, and that's where it becomes a Brophy marketing services.
as opposed to just print proofing.
Right,
Correct.
right.
So
Which, that's a great benefit, though, that PYC can bring us, is it can take, we can get a client through PYC and potentially, explode into.
that makes that makes perfect sense as a goal.
The other growth aspect of that is this is the company's first experience on web-based client interfacing that wasn't work process.
Mhm.
So on our other services, where we have a website, most websites don't generate revenue. They're there because they put your image out there, they're PR, so to speak. There's nothing that says we can't, off of this experience, also develop a website presence that actually generates work and revenue for our other services as well.
That's exactly what it'll eventually become. We live in an online world, really, so.
It's becomes that, but at the same time, our core client to us and the benefit to them, that interaction
Shortens
with
it.
our staff is important.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's why you guys.
Communication is a key.
And that's why you guys. Everybody likes working with you that I've talked to, and it's so you have to keep that aspect, but you also have to have the online presence too.
This is Prove Your Color is just a product that doesn't necessarily require that.
hmm
So
But it's also there. That's an aspect that is there. So why not sell it?
it's a need of the clients, just based on the parameters of what their cost structure is for that. It doesn't require the touch.
But it could also eventually require the touch, and then that it's there. So
Correct. For instance, when some people may talk to you about file verification, if your proof doesn't come out the way that you want it to, we can actually help you fix it. You know, that requires a little bit more interaction.
hmm And that's one thing I saw on the website that I think could be improved. Saying that it says basically you can contact us, but I would like that's how I think it should be, at least to
It's not necessarily a strong call to action.
yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can get you a clean one of these. What else were we looking for?
Let me answer Janae's question. I was looking
Yeah,
at
got
that.
it.
Okay.
Unless there's a new one.
No.
Okay.
They're
Nope.
working on that paper that our presentation is due this afternoon. The questions are going to come. All right, let me see if I can get you one of these. We'll go up and see Greg.